ton of muscle stands still in the morning heat, and it cannot win. Along the buffalo's spine, behind his ears, in the soft folds under his jaw, hundreds of ticks swell fat with his blood. His horns curve the wrong way. His tail falls short. His tongue cannot reach the places that itch and bleed. He is the strongest animal on this plain, and he is losing to something the size of a seed. Then the answer arrives on wings. A small bird drops onto his back, hooks its claws into the black hide, and begins to work along the ridge of his shoulder. It weighs less than a coin. To it, this heaving mountain is home, table, and lookout tower all at once. It plucks a swollen tick from the fold of skin, and the giant lets out a slow breath and stays perfectly still. Here begins a bargain between the huge and the small, a deal that keeps the buffalo alive from a distance he can never close. And like every bargain on the savannah, this one has a price. The bird has not started collecting it yet. The bird's life begins in the dark, inside a hollow tree the herd will never see. Two pale eggs rest deep in a hole gnawed by woodpeckers long ago, warmed by the body of the mother. She flies down to the buffalo each morning, feeds along their spines, and carries the taste of blood and dust back to the nest. Then the shell cracks. A blind, naked chick pushes out into the gloom, no bigger than a human thumb, its skin loose and pink, its head too heavy to lift. It cannot see the giants below. It cannot feel the sun. It knows only the pulse of hunger and the return of a shadow at the entrance, the beak that pushes food into its throat. Outside, the herd moves on. Every day the buffalo drift farther from this tree, and every day the parent must fly farther to reach them, and farther back. The chick grows in that thin margin between one meal and the next. Miss too many, and the dark hollow becomes a grave. Somewhere out on the grass, its future mountain is already grazing. The chick will inherit is a wall of black hide moving through tall grass. From above, the herd looks calm. Up close, it is under siege. Behind the ears, along the belly, in the wet corners of the eyes, ticks cling and swell, some as fat as a grape, purple with stolen blood. Flies crawl at the rims of wounds. Larvae burrow under the skin and rise as hard lumps. The giant cannot see most of them, and it cannot reach any. This is the hidden war that never ends. A single buffalo can carry thousands of parasites at once, each one a small mouth draining strength the animal needs for the next drought, the next charge, the next calf. The enemy has no face and no roar. It just grows heavier every day. Into this war, the young bird will fly. Its whole trade is written on that suffering hide, tick by tick, wound by wound. But the herd rarely holds still, and the grass around it hides more than parasites. Something with a heavier tread is learning the buffalo's routine too. Wings tucked, the young bird lands on a moving world for the first time. The hide shifts under its feet like a black hill that breathes. It grips with sharp claws and a stiff tail, riding the sway the way a woodpecker holds a trunk. Below its belly, the buffalo grazes, unaware and untroubled, letting the small weight settle. The first meal waits behind the ear. A tick sits there, round and dark, its head buried in the skin, its body swollen to the size of a bean. The bird's bill is flat and sharp at the edges. It works sideways, scissoring at the base, and pulls the parasite free with a wet tug. One gone. Thousands remain across this living range. The buffalo lowers its head and keeps chewing. For the giant, each tick lifted is a drop of blood saved, strength kept for the next dry season. For the bird, the hide is a field that never empties. It hops toward the shoulder, toward a small red split in the skin where the last meal drew blood. And something about that wound holds its attention longer than it should. Every buffalo carries a map, and the young bird learns to read it. The ears fill fastest, warm and sheltered, where ticks gather thick. The dewlap swings low, a curtain of loose skin that hides parasites in its folds. The eyes weep, and around them soft ticks wait for a bill that knows where to look. Day by day, the rider memorizes the living mountain beneath its feet, each fold and hollow, a page turned by hunger. It learns the herd, too. Older buffalo tolerate the weight and lower their heads for the eyes to be cleaned. Younger bulls twitch and shake, and a clumsy bird gets flung off into the grass. So the rider watches which giant stands calm, which flinches, which lets it climb between the horns. There is a debt in this trade the bird has not yet paid. When a tick pulls free with a bead of blood, the taste lingers, and the small red splits in the hide begin to matter more than the parasites around them. The bird is learning where the softest skin lies. Out beyond the herd, a different hunger has finished learning the same map. Midday heat presses the herd flat. Buffalo stand shoulder to shoulder, tails flicking, jaws still. The bird works the flank of a resting cow, tugging a swollen tick loose, when the ordinary noise of the savannah thins to nothing. No francolin call, no insect drone. The grass has gone quiet, and quiet on this plain means something is watching. Downwind, low in the yellow stalks, tawny shapes move without sound. A lioness has read the same living map the bird has, learning which giant stands tired, which calf lingers at the edge. She waits for the moment the herd forgets her. The bird feels the change before the buffalo do. Its head lifts from the hide, black eyes fixed on the grass line. For a heartbeat, it holds still. A small sentinel on a mountain of muscle that has not yet sensed its own danger. The blood-fed rider owes this giant a warning, and the debt is about to come due. One wrong second, and 1,000 pounds of buffalo will never rise from the dust. A single note breaks from the bird's throat, sharp and hissing, a sound the whole herd knows. It cuts through the drowsy afternoon like a stone through still water. The riders on other backs pick it up,
Buffalo head.
and in seconds the alarm ripples across 100 heads at once. The resting cow snaps upright. The calf beside her is already moving, folded back into the wall of horns. Where the lioness saw a tired giant alone, she now faces a black barricade turning to meet her. Nostrils flared, heads lowered. She holds 2 heartbeats in the grass, then melts back into the yellow. The hunt is over before it began. For the buffalo, the reward is plain. 1,000 pounds of muscle still standing, still breathing when the sun tips west. The bird did with a cry what no horn could do in time, spending a single voice to buy a giant one more day. It settles back onto the warm hide, quiet again. Its debt paid in full for now. Somewhere in the ticking heat, the herd begins to drift toward water, and the light starts to lean gold across the plain. Water finds them at first light. The herd wades into the shallows and the riders come along, working the mud-caked legs where ticks cling thickest after a night in the reeds. The first sun warms the wet hides, and the plain wakes the way it always does. Francolin's calling, insects stirring back into the grass. The bird moves between the ears of an old cow, taking the swollen ones one by one, a bead of blood on its bill with each pull. The giant stands and lets it work, the same silent bargain struck again. A mouthful of parasites for a body kept whole. A warning voice for a life spared in the yellow grass. Neither side counts the cost too closely. Under the same warm hide, the young bird finds a small red split near the flank and lingers there a heartbeat longer than the hunt requires. The debt runs both ways now, and it always will. By the water, a calf born in the wet season staggers up onto new legs, and above it, a fledgling clings to a horn, learning the map for the first time. Tomorrow the giants rise, and the small lives rise with them.